Yo, what's up, Cole?
Yo, what's up? How we doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good. Can you see me okay?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Is it better
Yeah.
with that light on? It might be better with that light on, actually.
Yeah, that's better. Like, yeah.
Cool.
Cool, dude. Well, thanks for joining me today. It's gonna be an awesome conversation. It was nice to talk to you and interview you a little bit after the post-win interview, but it's nice to have a more in-depth
Dude, yeah.
conversation about the whole experience and your whole weekend.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks for taking the time, man. Yeah, you definitely caught me at a high moment after the win. That was super exciting.
How's your week back been from NACO? How's settling back in? Do your family and friends and people you work with know you're the intermediate champ? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, it's been kind of a crazy week. I have a lot to say about it. I mean, I was definitely a little sore from like all Kendama, just all weekend, like getting after it all weekend, playing new tricks and just grinding stuff. And yeah, oh my gosh, like seeing all my friends and family and like talking to my parents and like all my friends back home who like tuned into the stream to watch was so cool. Everyone like congratulating me and like me telling them about the experience and everything was super cool. And then lastly, it's just been so nice to like get back into playing my normal kendama, like my normal routine, like doing stuff, grinding new tricks, like trying out new stuff. Cause yeah, for a while there, and we could talk about it more later, but I was like just grinding Nako tricks. Like that was it. And so I'm like happy to be getting back into playing. And then obviously like all the new kendamas that I got at Nako, like trying on the new setups and stuff has been sweet.
yeah. I mean, what a weekend. You dominated. You came in first. You came back with some crazy prizes, the Nouns glasses and a big, huge prize bag. It's huge, dude. It's huge. And
Dude.
sometimes it's coming back after the win. It's like you go back to like your normal life and you just and
Yeah.
and sometimes people don't even I mean, yeah, obviously not everybody's gonna know what happened, just happened the past weekend, and you gotta come back, you're like,
Yeah.
it kind of feels good to come back and be like, oh, hey, what'd you do this weekend? No, nothing much. I won a Kendama competition. Actually, the biggest. It was the North American Kendama Open. It was the biggest one. It was one of the biggest ones actually. The entire world. It was a pretty good weekend for me though. Yeah, it's kind of fun to come back from a huge dub like that, go like your normal life, and it's just feel that energy
Dude,
throughout the next
it
week.
still doesn't feel real. It still doesn't feel real, man. It still doesn't feel real.
Yeah, and for people listening right now, we're here with Cole Stark. He just won the North American Kendama Open Intermediate Division. And yeah, for those who, if anyone's listening, doesn't play Kendama, it's one of the two biggest Kendama competitions in the United States. And you had 42 other players in that division. So there's 43 total players, including yourself, and you came out on top. So I'm really excited to talk to you about what transpired, what helped you get to that point in the competition. Because yeah, there's only one winner in each division, so it's
Right.
huge to win. So, but before we get into talking about the competition call and all the work you put into it, I want to definitely give some time for you to give us more context and the people who are listening more context to who you are as a player and as a person. So, real quick, I'd love to if you could share how old you are, where you live right now, and how long you've been playing Kendama.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm 26. I'm currently located in Denver, Colorado. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona, though, just moved here 2 years ago. And yeah, so I was trying to figure out exactly when I first started playing kendama. And the first video I have of like my first Earth turn ever is in February of 2023. So that's about a year and a half, coming up on 2 years.
Yep.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how exactly did you get into Kendama? What was your story?
So it's so funny. A couple of years ago, I came out here to visit a friend of mine, and we were going to a concert and an EDM concert. And I'm not sure how much you know, but the Kendama is pretty big in like the EDM
Hmm.
festival music community. It's definitely on the rise and where I've like gotten some experience, and we can talk more about it later.
Totally.
But one of my good friends, Josh, who I went to NACO with, he was the one who convinced me to come with him. was the one who got me into Kendama. I saw him get really hype about hitting his first double inward whirlwind, and I was like, man, I gotta check this out. Like that was super cool. Like I gotta get one. And so actually, funny enough, I ended up like jokingly getting one for my girlfriend because she was interested in it too. And then every time I was hanging out with her, I was just like playing with it, and then I was like, all right, I gotta get one up for my own. And so yeah, not long after that, I had one and
Yeah.
started grinding tricks.
Okay. So yeah, I am familiar, semi-familiar with how big it is in the EDM scene. I mean, I know that there's people at a lot of big festivals putting on for Konami the entire duration of the festival, and some players, Austin Donovan
Yep.
commits a lot of his time to doing that, and also Lawless
Yep.
as well from Sweets. So I have an inkling of how big it is,
Yep.
of course, with Boogie T and Subtronics and everything, and Level Up, I think her name is. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I know a
Yeah.
couple people only because of Sweets though. So yeah, so but
Heck
that's
yeah.
really cool that you got it that crossover, and that's cool to see. Really, it kind of just sounds like you're a pro. You got exposed as to Konama just through the work. You're like a product of the work, a byproduct of the work that other people have put in for spreading EDM. Like you got exposed, you taken it far, and then look at you now, man. You won the intermediate division. So that's
Yeah,
cool to know. I
dude.
mean, you're literally just proof that the spreading in that scene is working. It's really really cool.
Dude, exactly.
Yeah. What
Other two have been like putting in a lot of work with the school and all that stuff. So yeah, that's been really cool to see. And yeah, it's infecting more and more people every day. It's cool that you said that. My mom was like,
Knowing what kendama is if it wasn't for you. So to see, it's like spreading in that way.
hmm I lost you a little bit there,
Is,
but I think we're
is my
back.
okay?
I
Oh,
lost you a
sorry
little
about
bit.
that.
No, you're
Okay.
good. But yeah, we're good now. I heard you said
Okay.
mentioned your mom. So that's where
Yeah,
it
yeah.
cut
Yeah.
out.
So like I was just saying how like adding on what you said about how it's spreading throughout the community. Like none of my family would have even known about what kendama was if it wasn't for me. And so like it's just cool to see it like spreading throughout people's lives.
Yeah. 100%, dude. 100%. And what exactly, you thought it was cool and stuff. What was there anything particular that intrigued you about Kendama? Or was it just like, oh, that seems fun?
Yeah, well, I mean, also the fact that it's just like so challenging,
hmm
like I mean, maybe for some people they pick it up really quick and like hit their first spike pretty quick or whatever, but like the fact grinding for tricks and like when you hit a trick that you've like been grinding for a while, that's just like the feeling is unbelievable. And then the appeal of the hand-eye coordination too. I am a like avid in other sports. I love playing volleyball and skiing and stuff, and so like anything that helps me improve hand-eye coordination or stuff like that is definitely intriguing to me.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so it sounds like it was right up your alley and just appealed to you because of some
Yeah,
stuff, the natural stuff that you're into before. Cool.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And before this competition, you did share with us that you before this competition, your past, almost 2 years of playing, you actually only competed once, and that was online in a Kendama league, a Lovelace Kendama league.
Yep. Yeah, you got it. So, again, shout out to my buddy Josh. In order to prep for NACO, he was like, "Yo, there's this thing online called Lovelace Kendama. We should do it." And I like accredit so much to that, just because like getting out there and playing with people you've never played before, and like putting yourself in that situation where you're like kind of nervous, like, oh, this is kind of a big deal. It's not just like a chill game of Ken, like
hmm
that was what really like I think helped me on stage during competing during NACO.
Yeah. And so okay, so how does exactly that league work, or what was the competition style you guys were doing in that?
So yeah, it was an 8 week thing where you play one match a week. You kind of like set up a match with with the person you get paired up with, and I think it's a game of what's called Dama, which is like similar to One Up, where you like do a trick, like let's say I do airplane, and then if we were playing a game, you would get a chance to add on to it, and so you could do like a J stick, then I would have to do the line. If I do it, I can add on to it, and so on and so forth. So sometimes you can have a short line where you do a juggle spike or something hard and the person doesn't get it, or you have a long line that has a lot of tricks in it that can last a few minutes or whatever.
I see. Okay. Cool. So it wasn't exactly, it was a little more open-ended than just strict open, but still
Yeah,
simulating that same type of competition, nervousness,
totally.
stakes. all of this. And it was cool. It sounds like it was a consistent thing.
Exactly.
So 8 weeks, every what was it, once a week?
Yeah, once a week. And so it's kind of funny. I started off 0 and 3. Like
Hmm.
the nerves definitely got me. It's same sort of style as Nako too, where there's like divisions, right? Like beginning, intermediate, advanced, AM, open, open. And I did intermediate again. And yeah, took 3 L's right off the bat and had like a couple good games. So that was cool. But then after that, I kind of started to find my groove and find my niche. And started doing better and like feeling more comfortable.
Yeah. Did you end up winning that league?
No, I think I came in like sixth.
Okay.
So not too bad. I think there were a couple guys who went 8-0 or 7-1.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
yeah, that'll happen sometimes in the leagues. Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I mean that was one of that was one of the prizes was or the NACO prizes was a free entry to the next round of the league. So
Oh, no way.
we'll have
Okay.
to see if I run it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, 100%. I mean, you might as well, right? It served you well. So
Yeah.
that's cool to hear. And it's
Right?
cool to hear that the nerves, I mean, the nerve handling
Yeah.
translated to actual competition. But yeah, cool. So I know you're a software engineer. And so how was it balancing work and comp practice before the event itself?
Yeah, it can be tough sometimes, but I'm very fortunate in the sense that I work from home. And so a lot of times, if I get a little bit of free time or if I'm on a call where I don't have to pay attention too much, I'll just pick up the Dama and start playing around a little bit. But it can be hard sometimes. I have busy days and a lot of calls I got to take sometimes. So, but the bottom line is, to be honest with you, before NACO, I just made a commitment to myself that I was going to carve out 30 minutes to an hour every single day, no matter what, no matter how tired I was, no matter what I was doing, just to pick it up and practice those tricks.
That is epic to hear. That's the kind of what I've expected. That's honestly not surprising coming from the person who won the division. So okay, I was going to ask you. So okay, so it sounds like you set a baseline for yourself. I'm sure you had some days where you were going at 30 minutes. You're like, okay, I'm going to go for longer. What what was kind of the strategy like on top of the baseline, which is amazing. The consistency is such a huge factor in preparation, but in terms of your practice strategy, how did you structure your practice sessions? Was it just so did it differ on some days, or was it more focused on others?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny. There's like an evolution of the practice as I got closer and closer to NACO. I might have alluded to this a little bit when we were talking after, but
Hmm.
um, originally if trick list comes out, I'm just like doing the tricks. I'm like kind of still doing my own thing, like still playing and doing some tricks that I like to do. Everyone has their own favorite tricks and lines they like to do and the ways they like to play. And so I'd still do, kind of like 50-50, playing how I want and practicing NACO tricks. And then about a month before was when it just became NACO tricks only. And that was it. Like no warm up on anything else really, like just focusing on NACO tricks. And sometimes, it would get to the point too where like I would break down certain tricks. So like for
Hmm.
example, one of the tricks is Sarah down spike, Sarah grip earth turn. And so I would just practice Sarah grip earth turns by themselves for a while, right? Instead of
Yeah.
doing the whole motion, because that's the portion I struggled with the most was that portion. So I'd kind of break down the tricks and just grind certain portions of them, practice maybe 3 tricks in a day. And then I think this might have been the best part, and one of the best things I did in preparation was like a week or two before, I started kind of practicing in NACO format where I had an app on my phone that would like randomize the trick list and I'd click the button, give me a trick, and I would do it. And if I missed it, I would just move on and I would go to the next trick, like pretending that, I missed it and my opponent hit it. Right. So really trying to create those circumstances of NACO where, I'm sure you felt this before, but like if I'm doing a trick 20 times in a row, I get really consistent with it. But if I have to do a trick after doing a different trick, that can kind of be a little bit of a different beast. And so that's how I changed my format kind of towards the end.
Hmm. That's that's awesome. So after talking to, I spoke with Jake YJ. He won the amateur division, yes, and I spoke with him yesterday. And you guys are both you just touched on something that he heavily accredited his a lot of his success to and a lot of his preparation to was the simulation aspect. Not just
Huh.
grinding over and over again these tricks, but you formatting the practice where it actually mimics what you're going to do on stage and the stakes of you having to hit it an X, this try, whereas
Yep.
whereas when you start out, it's usually just so a lot of players aren't doing that. They're just going through the tricks, testing the waters, but a lot of players don't make it past that
Yep.
stage of just all right, I'm going to keep doing these tricks for X amount of reps. But actually, you simulating taking it that next step further and simulating the actual what a competition would be like in person at home by yourself is huge.
Yep.
That's really cool to hear that
Yeah.
it actually worked super well for you. So were you doing that just by yourself, like visualization, just mentally, or you mentioned an app? But did you ever get together with other players in virtual calls or in person?
Um, Not too much. I would also like have my friends do it for me.
Oh, nice.
Like I could attribute to my girlfriend. Like sometimes I just have her click through the app for me.
Yep.
Or yeah, I would play a lot of games with my buddy Josh, who competed in the advanced division at
Nice.
NACO. He did pretty well too. I think he made top eight. So we were both just stoked to like even have won a couple of matches, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would play a lot of games together where I would do like games of Ken with him with his advanced tricks, and he would do them with me with my intermediate tricks. And
Oh, that's
then
perfect.
I've just been kind of getting into, and I've especially after this weekend too. There was a crew of Denver guys, like maybe like 30 of us or so, who went out, and I just recently got added to that group. So like I think I maybe even gone to one meetup with them where we kind of like did some NACO stuff, but hopefully in the future I'll continue to go more and more, spread that Ken community even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I think I know Josh. I think he entered one of our competitions online once. Yeah. So that's actually cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
did, he
yeah,
did do well, and he lost to the winner. So I mean,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
if you're gonna
dude.
lose to
That's
anybody,
that's so dope. You remember that?
that's
Yeah,
probably the best person to lose to. So I mean, hey, yeah, Hiram's really good. So yeah, I remember
yeah.
Josh. He's good. Yeah, that's really
Oh
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
cool.
awesome. But okay, cool.
That's
So
cool. You
okay,
know him
simulation is huge for you, and it sounds like
definitely.
it's really cool to hear you talk about your preparation and how serious you took it because not a, I think a lot of people maybe only assume that okay, yeah, the pros, are doing this type of preparation. What are the pros preparation like? But as you can as we're hearing right now, people listening, the behaviors for these champions, it's relatively similar. It's the people are putting in
Yeah,
the work regardless of the level. Yes, of course, the baseline
yeah,
level of each of these divisions are going to be different from players, but the behaviors are there's a lot of similarities between all of you, all the people who
yeah.
won on Sunday. So this is really really
That's
cool,
really
dude.
cool to hear.
And you played a total of 6 matches. So from first match to last match, you played 6 matches. Final match was the sixth match, and
Yep.
your first 3 matches actually, you had really close games. You won 3-2 in those first.
Dude, you're telling me, man. I know. Oh my gosh, yeah. Those are nail biters, man.
Yeah. So you're hitting these nail biter matches back to back to back. What helps you stay locked in and focused for these?
Man, that's so cool. I didn't know you like knew all the history of the whole all those matches. Yeah, because there were some close ones there. I think at one point, I can't remember her name. It might be like Natasha, one of the girls.
I
She
think
was up
Nicole.
2-1 against me. Nicole. Yeah, it was Nicole. Yeah, she was up 2-1 against me in one of those matches, and I was like definitely feeling a little nervous. But yeah, so to be completely honest with you, to stay cool. So my goal coming to NACO was I just wanted to at least land one trick on stage because my worst fear was just going up on stage and going three and out on those tricks, right? Like I
Hmm.
just miss trick, get a letter, bam. I think that was probably everyone's worst fear. So, I knew that if once I got up there and hit a trick, I would kind of like I'd feel good about myself. I got up there, I came to do what I wanted to do, and I didn't go out without swinging. And so once I got up there and a trick got pulled and I hit a trick, I immediately was like a weight off my shoulders. I was just like, oh, like, okay, I'm here. I know I can do this. I've practiced these tricks so many times. It's just about staying calm now. And it was just like with the Lovelace Kendamas. That was the same thing too. If I could land one trick and get something going, then it was almost just like, I always talk about this thing called the flow state
Hmm.
where you're playing kendama so hard that you just like lose sense of everything around you. You start seeing the kendama in slow motion. And so if I could create that on stage, that's all I was trying to do. And so as soon as I could hit that first trick, that weight was off my shoulders, and I'm like, all right, now I'm just playing kendama. I'm doing what I know how to do. Um, and so yeah, so and then to stay calm, the other portion of it is I just had to not think about anything else, right?
Mm,
Like once I was up there, I had my girlfriend, Josh is cheering me on. We had some other friends who came to watch us. Everyone's in the room watching, and I'm just, I can't think about anything. I'm just focused on the kendama, and that's it. Block everything out until the match is over. And that was, I think, the key to my success there was landing the one trick and then just not focusing on anything else and really trying to channel that flow state I was talking to you about.
yeah. Okay, so that is, you know what stuck out to me what you just said? Your original goal was to just lace a trick on stage, and you end up winning the entire thing. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So now your expectation, now what you can envision for yourself after this weekend, because yeah, you not only laced the trick on stage, but you literally won the entire thing. Now what you can envision for yourself is quite literally infinitely bigger than what you imagine for yourself going into this comp, which I think that is so huge. And oh man, I think that's just so cool how that can happen. You never really know what can happen. I mean, you put in a lot of work. This is your first time competing in an in-person comp. You didn't know what to expect. So yeah, I mean, you don't
Yeah,
know how it's going to
yeah,
work. It's different from online. It's different for you. You weren't. It wasn't the exact same format you're
totally.
playing in Ken League, but you put in the work and you achieved high
Yeah.
and but you literally blasted through your expectations by like a million. So that is
Dude,
so
I
so cool.
know.
What is that? I mean, I want to ask about that. So going from their expectations, just landing one trick to winning the whole thing. I mean, what were you exactly feeling after the win? I mean, because it sounds like you didn't expect to get any. You just wanted to get 1 point, not even one. You just wanted to get 1 point.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I think that's what's so cool about that weekend is, like I was just so excited to be there with all these cool people playing kendama in this super cool community and like be able to buy new kendamas and check stuff out. And so, being winning anything or lacing a trick was just a cherry on top.
Hmm.
I was just so happy about that. So, once that was done, I was just like, well, now I don't really have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about embarrassing myself or I didn't do what I wanted to do. It was just all about having fun and having a good time and just trying to stay locked in and keep the vibes high.
Yeah.
So you mean afterwards, like I mean, even after the first day, me and Josh move on to the next day. We're playing the next day. We're so excited. We go out, we're celebrating already, getting dinner, hanging out with
Yep.
our friends, like just enjoying the fact that we're out here and we set out what we wanted to do and we're having a great time. And so yeah, it was already vibes were super high after the first day. And so then second day comes around, and we both compete. I made it on. Josh won his first match, missed the second. But then, yeah, even just so moving on to the final four was crazy. Like at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, I might have a shot at this. Like
Yeah.
this could happen. Like I'm feeling pretty good. Like you talked about too, I had won some close matches. And so I was kind of really starting to feel like I was in my groove, and feeling the competition coal coming out of me. Um, and so then on Sunday, just tried to do everything I had been doing before, which was, just trying to get enough sleep and wake up, do a little bit of practice, not overthink it, and then yes, I mean, Sunday might have been one of the coolest days of my life, man. Like I can't put into words the feeling of lacing that last trick on stage and hearing everyone cheer and congratulate me, and then doing that interview with you guys after was so cool, and it just made an already epic weekend that much more epic.
That's so. Oh man, it brings such a huge smile on my face. Just hearing you and Josh just celebrating after the first day, because at that point, I mean, I don't know what his expectations were going into the comp, but it sounds like you guys were just super, like, obviously enjoying yourself, and that's huge. You guys both made it past the first day,
Yeah,
like the NACO at the NACO. It takes
yeah,
effort to do that.
yeah,
So getting
yeah,
past the first day in your respective divisions, and you know, you guys both doing well in the second day, and then you going all the way. I mean, that's huge, and obviously
man.
something you flipped a switch, dude, because you went from doing 3-2-3-2-3-2 to 3-0-3-0-5-2. I mean, something happened.
Yeah,
Something happened,
yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah,
you would expect the opposite. You would expect the opposite. Okay, first couple matches, 3-0-3-0. Okay, now I'm
yeah.
playing tougher opponents. No, but you actually just swept. I mean, you swept the last couple people, dude. So, I mean, what do you attribute that to? Just what you just said, or is there something more?
A little bit to what I said, but yeah, and more about what I had said earlier about the nerves and just being able to manage them
Hmm.
because I feel like those, as we got deeper into the series, that's when the pressure really started going on. And you hear Matt Sweets up there like, oh,
Yep.
now it's 2-1. Who's going to land the trick? I think I was really good about managing that because I could tell, McNasty, who I actually am like good buddies with now, who I played in the semifinals, during one of his tricks, he's like, can you see how much my hand is shaking? Like, give me some round of applause for how much I'm shaking right now. And I was a little shaky too, but I think I just was a little bit more prepared in terms of playing in front of people and being in those nervous situations to be able to, like I said, once I hit that first trick of the match, then I'm locked in.
Yep.
And so I think that's really what it was. And so whenever I would get a point or put the point and the pressure on someone by lacing a trick, that's when the pressure would really build up. And then the other thing was too, I noticed is um, I really took a lot of time on stage. I'm watching some of my matches back and I'm like taking so much time, like getting a
Hmm.
good setup. And as that time goes by, the stress just keeps building and just keeps building. So I think that's really what attributed to it.
Yeah. That okay. Cool. So again, pointing some appreciation to like the practice you did before in the Ken game in the Ken League with the
Yeah.
nerves and everything. That's massive. I mean, also, so you're saying McNass, he literally told you how much he was shaking just on stage.
Yeah. I mean,
That's how
during the
you know.
match,
That's how
like you
you
can
know when
see it
you.
that.
That's how you know when you're like, all right, go. I'm definitely gonna win in this one. That's how you gotta know. As
Yeah.
long as you don't miss two and
Yes.
let them get used to it. But yeah.
Right. Because it was just at a certain point where I was like, I've done these tricks so many times. It's
Yep.
just about staying calm on stage. Like I
Hmm.
just got to stay calm and do what I know how to do. More practice on these tricks isn't going to do me much more good.
Hmm. Just focusing on the mental aspect. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But you mentioned in between matches, you had like this, you kept doing what you were doing. What exactly were you doing in between matches? Did you have anything that you were focused on? Were you just running the tricks? How were you staying warm or?
Yeah, so before every match, or I should say before like my matches of the day, because they would usually be like, in a 30-45 minute segment. Um, I would just practice the tricks for like 30 to 45 minutes just by myself in the room where we were competing, because I didn't think it made sense to go to some place quiet and practice because
Yeah.
I want to be acclimated and attuned to the environment that we're going to be playing in. And so I just practiced them for 30 to 45 minutes. Any tricks that were feeling a little weird that day, I would like maybe practice a little bit more. Like Nightingale sometimes would feel funny, or half spacewalk. And so just do them for those 30 to 45 minutes. And then like a few minutes before the competition, just put phone away, everything away, just kind of
Nice.
hone in, lock in. And then even in between matches, didn't even take my phone out, didn't really practice the tricks, just kind of chill and watch the other people. And I was also, cheering on. Victoria is a really good friend of mine. And so I was really excited to watch her. And the fact that she made top three as well was
Yep.
super exciting.
Yeah.
Shout out Victoria. Victoria's awesome.
Shout out Victoria, her and Kendama yearbook and how well she did and everything for and MC in the weekend
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like, shout out.
Yeah, she's so cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, it sounds like I'm loving the again, it's just I'm really impressed by the amount of care you put into this. And I shouldn't be surprised. I'm really not, but it's just nice, it's refreshing to hear this stuff. What you were doing
Oh yeah,
at the
man.
intermediate level, and showing people that hey, it doesn't just happen at the pro
Yeah.
level to win. You got the behavior's the same. So okay, so really high focus on paying attention on the environment you're practicing in, staying present,
Yep.
not looking at your phone, be consciously not looking at your phone and just staying dialed in
Yeah.
and yeah, just repping the tricks out again, just in the environment in the room that you're going to compete in, really.
Yeah. And like don't get frustrated with yourself, like sometimes it would happen to me. I'd be like missing a trick that I know I could hit a bunch of times in a row, and I'd be like, what's going on? Like, why can't I hit this? It's just like, just be patient with yourself. And the same thing too is like when you're on stage, if you miss a trick, like it is what it is, man. Like,
Hmm.
you can't like beat yourself up on stage. You just got to move on, take a deep breath, do the next trick.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that actually. A lot of people will miss a trick or miss a trick on stage and it'll ruin their whole vibe in the match. Where it sounds
Yeah.
like for you, once you get a trick, once you get a trick, it's like all right, this is next level Cole now. This is next level Cole. But so yeah, I'd love to hear your little. You talk about that a little more. If you have anything else to share on that, just that mindset that you have, just all right, let it go. If you miss a trick, what has helped you in your life attain that mindset if you can explain it? Because yeah, a lot of people will miss one trick and that's when they get nervous.
Gosh, yeah. And it's just yeah, like I brought that up is definitely because I like saw it. You could see it in people on stage when they're
Hmm.
competing. Like they just get so frustrated with themselves sometimes when they're missing tricks that they know how to hit. Gosh, yeah. What else? What in my life is attributed to that? I don't really know. The only thing I can really say is like I kind of alluded to this at the beginning is I never feel like I've been like a naturally gifted person at anything. You have those
Mm.
people who are just like natural born into stuff and they're just so good naturally. But I've always had like a really good work ethic and knowing that like I've dealt with a lot of failure before.
Hmm.
And failure is just part of the learning process and it's just part of being a human being. And dealing with that and means that you're on the right track. And so, I just knew that if I'm going to miss a trick on stage, that like it's not a big deal. It happens to everyone. That was the cool thing to see at NACO too. I was like, I didn't even know, like you said, I didn't know what to expect. This is my first time at a competition like this. And I was half expecting everyone in the intermediate to be lacing everything always,
Hmm.
So I was just like, it was a little bit refreshing to see other people making mistakes. So knowing that, just being able to brush it off after missing a trick, taking a deep breath, and just putting it behind you and doing what you can, is the best advice that I'd have for people in those situations. Because, getting frustrated with yourself about missing a trick isn't going to do you any good for the next one.
Yeah, just moving on and just moving on when you're focused to the next trick. And yeah, it definitely goes along well with what you said earlier about just trying to just ignore your surroundings as best as possible and just focus on what's right in front of you. I
Yeah,
think that goes hand in hand with
seriously,
that.
because we all have those thoughts, man. And I'm like definitely a big overthinker. Like I'm out here in Minnesota. My family's watching me. My friends are watching me. I don't want to bagel this right now. I just can't. Just don't even think about that stuff. Don't even think about any of that stuff. Just focus on what you know how to do.
Yeah. And you did. And you won 5-2 pretty easily, it looks like in the final match. I know you missed the first airplane you had up there, but other than that, pretty sure it was a pretty good match. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that might have been one of the moments that was like could have been the most faltering. Like going into the final match, missed the first trick, not even get a
Right.
shot at the J stick. I was just like, uh-oh. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you
just
brought it
walk it
back.
off and move on.
Yeah. Was your
Brought it
mindset
back.
different going into the final match than the other matches, or was it pretty similar?
I mean, at that point, I remember being on stage at one point after I missed the airplane and just being like laughing at myself and just being, I'm just so happy to be here right now. Like this,
Yeah.
this is not real life. The fact that I'm on stage right now. So I just like didn't even have any more room left in my brain to be nervous anymore. I was just so like happy and grateful to be here with all of my friends watching me and at something that Kendama's changed my life. Like
Mhm.
when I first picked this up, I never could have imagined that I'd be here a year and a half later. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. That's epic. That's epic. I mean, and in a year and a half, almost 2 years, you've obviously progressed um, very, very well, and competition's huge. Past the competition, obviously you put in a lot of work before this and before you even knew about this competition in general. What have you focused on particularly in order to help you progress up to this point? What are some themes that you've kind of that you've noticed in your practice up to this point these since February 2023? You did mention consistency, a huge emphasis on consistency when we asked you post win at the comp.
Dude, also just real quick, I gotta say, you're top tier interviewer right here, man. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Hot Ones with Sean Evans, but you're like giving me Sean Evans vibes right now. Like, you're so like on top of me with the questions, like remembering our previous interview. So like, that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, I got three things to say about that. I'll talk about consistency last because I want to
Okay.
talk about these other two things before. Again, shout out Josh because he just keeps convincing me to do like all these kendama things. But I did my first 28 tricks later in February.
Okay.
Uh, I'm sure you're are you from
Yeah.
you're familiar, right? Yeah,
With
yeah, yeah.
28?
So
Yeah.
I think Silly question. So yeah, I did that in February, which, it's so funny because you have your like own kendama journey and how you want to progress and level up. But then when you do something that's more structured and formatted like that, where you like have to land a new trick every day, it like pushes you in different ways, right? And it's kind of funny with that, you could either go really big or really small. And I landed some really cool tricks in 28 tricks later that like really pushed me as a kendama player. Um, and then fast forward to last month, I did Stinktober as well. And, same sort of thing, right? Except it's like do a trick based off of a theme.
Right.
And I almost like, I loved that because I was like trying all these new tricks and like learning all this new stuff. And it's cool how, when you learn new tricks, it helps benefit you with previous tricks that you've learned before, or helps you understand a trick that you've been struggling with in a different way. Um, and then yeah, let's bring it back all the way to consistency, which is, where
Hmm.
my fundamentals started. And yeah, that's what I do to this day is when I first pick up the kendama, I'm just doing around the world, around Europe, around USA, all of those basic tricks. I want to be able to do those every single time without even having to think about it. I want to be so good and consistent with those basics because as I've started to talk to more kendama players and more people and I've met more people, a lot of people love to just go for crazy stuff and
Hmm.
they love to just like try and land this crazy like quad tap juggle spike stuff before they even have landed around USA or like around Whirlwind or some of those like smaller, more consistent space tricks. And so, that's where all of my kendama is. And when I'm picking my kendama up on a daily basis, sometimes I'm just going over the basics and doing those consistency tricks instead of trying to land new ones. I'll spend 30 minutes just doing around USA and trying stuff in Sarah grip and just doing airplane J sticks. I want all of those very easy, basic fundamental tricks to be almost like second nature to me. Which is what I think helped with Nako a lot is I would say half or so of the tricks were just tricks that I already grinded on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so it was just a matter of learning those other funky ones like the half spacewalk and reverse frying pan and maybe ones that I don't do as often. But that would be some advice I have for people, at least in the beginner and intermediate, is if you're really looking to progress your kendama, is just focus on those basics and just do those simple tricks over and over and over and over and over again, and you'll be surprised at how much it'll help you with those later cooler ones that you see are more flashy when people are doing 10 juggle spike and whatnot.
Yeah. That is so cool to hear you. Okay, so big emphasis on 26 layer, Sanctober, the theme, the challenges. I mean, with those challenges, regardless of what you're posting, some people have negative associations with the 28 and these challenges like this because they feel a lot of pressure, like a trickle a day, whatever. And and I understand it, but regardless of what happens, you're playing every single day and you're prioritizing every single day,
Exactly.
regardless of what happens. So you're getting a
Yep.
lot of time in during
Yep.
those months. So big emphasis on that,
Yep.
and then big emphasis on your foundation and your foundation, the basics.
Yep.
And I really respect that. And that's something that I definitely talk about and preach along with my brother. But it's huge to hear you talk about it at attributing a large portion of how good you are today to the focus on the consistency. And, you know, you wouldn't be able to win an open division if you didn't have that. And that's a whole nother skill.
Right.
I mean, it's a whole nother skill. So that is huge to hear you talk about that. And you did mention, yeah, you have the around the world, around the Europe. So do you have a daily trick list that you go and go through, or do you kind of just have it in your head?
I kind of just have it in my head, but I like to try and do like some fundamental tricks in each sort of grip, right? Like I like to do Ken grip tricks, like pull-up tricks, airplane tricks out of Tama grip, lighthouse tricks, lunar tricks. Like I usually have like a bracket of tricks that I'll like try and work on, and I always do those tricks before I ever try something new. So like for example, let's say I was trying to land, I've never landed like a triple lunar flip or something, right?
Hmm.
In order to do that, I would like just practice lunar, maybe some lunar flips, like any sort of things like that, just to like get myself warmed up, and then I would go for the triple lunar flips.
Yeah.
So it's always like doing those sort of fundamental lunar tricks before going just straight for the big one, right? And then the other thing I want to say about that too is like it's kind of funny. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like when I first started playing, I definitely like gravitated to some tricks over some others. Like at first, I just like hated doing airplane and J stick tricks because I just could not get my head around them. Um, but and you know, so like sometimes it's about a balance of doing the tricks you want and also grinding the tricks that maybe you don't like as much, but help you become a more well-rounded kendama player and help you with those tricks that you maybe struggle with. So like, you know, for example, I would do a lot of Ken grip tricks, and make myself do the Tama grip trips until I got better at them. And then they became more and more fun. So, you know, sometimes like it's just like with everything, right? Like you have to grind a little bit and do some stuff you don't want to do to become better at it, right?
Totally. 100%. 100%. And I totally know what you feel about, I mean, what you said about gravitating towards certain tricks above others. Of course, I feel like
Yeah.
that's a huge part of each person's style. Every person's
Yeah.
style is really just reflective of what the tricks that they enjoy the most. And really,
Yeah.
you can figure out what people enjoy the most by what they're doing nonchalantly when you're talking, when they're in line at the bathroom, when you're in line at a restaurant.
Totally.
And that's their style of tricks because that's what they just naturally
Right.
gravitate towards. And 100%. And yeah, it's just getting, it's, you mentioned this, it's like, just getting over that hump, just getting over the hump of a trick you don't like. That's
Yeah.
really all it takes. I feel like a lot of people are, a lot of people, I mean, every player is so much closer than they think of becoming good at a certain type of trick or liking a trick than they really think. They're just a couple. There might just be, dude. Some people might just be 30 minutes of time away, but some people just maybe like just 1 or 2 hours
Totally.
away from getting over that first hump and then getting a certain type of skill acquisition. You know, just enough to start actually being able to kind of get in the groove of doing the base level of whatever variation they're trying, and then it just clicks for them. And it
Yeah.
sounds like that's happened for you too. With you start out with a trick you don't like, and you kind of and then you finally get enough skill to get the base part of it, and then you just take off with
Yeah. Dude, took the words out of my mouth. Well said. Exactly.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so, but it's awesome to hear you say that too, because a lot of people don't try new tricks because of, they kind of, I feel like a lot of players label themselves and put themselves in a box of, yeah, I'm not this type of, I'm this type of player. I'm not, I don't do these tricks. I don't do that.
Right.
But it's so, but everybody's so much closer than they think. It just takes getting over the
Yeah.
hump. And I think people forget that sometimes, especially the further they go in, the more they develop their style. So it's, it's really cool to hear you talk about this stuff. And I think it'll be refreshing for not just beginner and intermediate players, but people who have been playing for years upon years alike, just because it's a nice reminder to people. It's like, okay, you can get better if you actually try it at certain tricks. It just takes some time.
Totally.
Like it took people like it took pros or AM players time to learn the tricks they're good at now. I mean, they didn't have them overnight.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
no, exactly. You definitely just got to be okay with like missing tricks just all the time too. You know, like
Yeah.
probably missed like, you know, 95% of the tricks I've ever gone for or whatever, right? Like you got to be okay with just like missing and missing and missing some more until yeah, you have that, like you said, that one point where you get over that hump, you put in that 30 more minutes and it clicks and then you're like, oh man, that's the feeling right there
Yeah.
when you get it. What makes me love kendama.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And for one of my last questions I want to ask you is are you going to be moving up to, well, first of all, what's the next competition you're going to?
Well, I mean, you guys were talking about Battle at the Borders
Yeah,
in
we mentioned
January, and
Valorant too.
I'm like thinking about it more and more. Definitely thinking about it, but I'll definitely run it back at another NACO for sure. I had so much fun. I just
Mhm.
had like a blast, even outside of even outside of winning the intermediate division, like just meeting so many people that I had met through Lovelace and that I had met at festivals who all came together, and then just like I had so many level ups over the weekend, like new tricks that I tried that I saw from people, and I got so many cool setups that I just love playing with now. You know, all of those things right there were just more than enough reason for me to want to run it back at NACO in 2025. I think if it is in 2025, someone said it might be every other year.
No, it'll be 2025.
But okay, for sure. Well, then I'm definitely down to run it back because it was like so much fun and yeah, to address your other point, I'll definitely be going for advanced next year.
Cool.
There was a moment I had thought I could maybe do advanced when the trick list first came out, but there were just like three or four, maybe five tricks on there that were just like a little bit out of my range to be
Hmm.
able to land consistently on stage first try. And so I think I made the right choice going for intermediate, and it really allowed me to like focus on those ones. I still had to, like I said, learn some tricks for intermediate. Wasn't really trying some of them, but I had a good foundation. But yeah, advanced is definitely on the list. If I could run it back and then win advanced in the next 1 to 3 years, that would be That'd be crazy, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I do what I did again, I probably have to put in some more time because, just like the level up from beginner to intermediate, that jump in skill from intermediate to advanced is fairly significant. And some of the players competing in it are killers. So, but I would love to run it back and even to just again land one advanced trick on stage or win one match on advanced match on stage would mean the world to me.
Yeah. First off, I just want to say I hope from the bottom of my heart that if we don't have to wait an entire year to see Cole Stark in action again. I hope that we don't have to wait an entire full year. I genuinely hope that we can see you at other events. There's a lot of opportunities in the United States. Of course, not every event is going to be as big as Battle of Nago, but there are a lot of opportunities. And I know there's actually an event in your state, 303 KO, that happens that happened this past year and will definitely be happening again, which is I think is in Boulder. So, I mean, I don't know how far Boulder is from
Yep,
Denver, but yeah,
not too far. Yeah, it's manageable for sure.
yeah. So there's that. So I mean, at least that, and I mean, hey, you should look into going to BATB. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, yeah, I mean, I've been thinking more and more about it. It's just so much fun.
Just go
For
with Josh
sure.
again. You can go with Josh
I
and
know,
save
dude.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll convince him this time.
Yeah, dude. And so and actually, you mentioned something really interesting there that I think can be of value to anybody of any skill level. So you did mention that, okay, you were about to go to an advanced, but you recognized, okay, hey, a couple of these tricks, not all of them, but a couple of them, like three, four, you mentioned 4 to 5, they're not going to be. I don't think I'm at a level where I'm as consistent with these yet. And for you who hasn't even competed yet, I'm sure you were wondering, okay, where do I really stand? Because of course I mean, competition is another skill. People can be really good at a certain trick
Yeah.
list beforehand, or can be capable, maybe not consistent, but they're capable already of doing some trick lists in, let's say, the division above them, but they're not consistent. And so
Yeah.
for you, was it at any point difficult for you to be like, oh, I want to do advanced, but okay, I'm actually gonna do intermediate? Because a lot of people I've seen, to be honest, I've seen a lot of people because of, I mean, at the end of the day, it's because of their ego. They will go up and compete up in a division when they just have never, there's not consistent enough. And they haven't put the work in. So I don't, but and
Hmm.
so it really confuses me. If I'm like, okay, I wonder why they're doing this. They're competing up a division when they just,
Hmm.
I don't, I just they haven't put the work in and they don't prove them to themselves that they can actually do it. So for you, did you feel any way when any hurts your ego or anything when you were making the decision from advanced to intermediate, or how did that look like for you?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So, yeah, I remember when that trick list first came out and I was like looking over both of them and I spent the first couple days like just doing both trick lists.
Hmm.
Like I was messing around with advanced a little bit. Um and Josh at the time was debating doing amateur open versus advanced.
Hmm.
So we were both kind of deciding what we wanted to do. Um and when I think I made the decision, yeah, after like trying to grind the candle underbird over the valley trade spike trick for like an hour and a half and I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I think I might have to make this call because the other portion of it was too is what I had brought back to my original goal. I really wanted to lace one trick on stage.
Right.
And I knew that if I went for intermediate instead of advanced, I was going to have a lot better chance of achieving my goal on stage of at least lacing one trick. And then, if I was able to do that, having a chance to actually maybe go a couple rounds is what I was originally thinking. So, I don't think it hurt my ego at all, especially because it's my first competition, like we've talked about. I didn't really know what to expect. Again, I thought, maybe some of the intermediate players were just going to be lacing everything on the first try. I didn't really know what to expect. It's my first competition. I haven't competed in anything since, I don't know, like high school basketball or something like
Hmm.
that. So it's been a long time since I've like played in front of people. And so yeah, I think, I ultimately made the right call for me too, because, I was missing tricks up there on stage too. The nerves were definitely getting to me a little bit. And like you said, competition is just a different game. And I knew that if I I knew if I chose intermediate, I could master the tricks. I knew that given the time frame and putting in that time, 30 minutes to an hour a day, I would get to a point where I would be landing those tricks pretty much every time in my home setting. But then we transition that to the competition setting is where the whole beast of it really, really came together. So, um, yeah, I think I made the right call going for intermediate.
Yeah, that's okay, cool. That's cool to hear because it can be a tough decision sometimes if you're in that if you don't have any
Yeah.
if you don't have any, especially in your case, it's because you don't have any experience. You didn't have any experience in a division yet. Some players I know who gonna go up in a division, they already have experience, and for some reason they keep entering the same
Yeah.
division and keep getting the same result of getting out in the first couple of rounds. But for yeah,
Mm.
I can imagine it's tough to really pick which one, all right, because you don't have the experience yet. But I think you made a good call, and now what I think is so cool, dude, is that you now I mean, you're literally in the best. You don't have to have any room for thought for the next time you compete because you know you're going to go in advance. Because you
Yes.
literally prove to yourself, okay,
Yeah.
hey, I competed
Yeah.
intermediate and I didn't compete. I actually won. Like I for
Yeah.
sure now that's the number one sign you should be you're good to go on the way in.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
that is so cool. And I think
Totally.
and getting that experience too, dude, that you but despite being able to do some tricks in advance, you gave yourself the proof and the experience in a division that you felt a little more comfortable in, that was more level, your level, and you were conscious that competition is different. But I think
Yep.
now that, like, even let's just say you took second or third, or let's just say you got out and you got like fourth place or something, you would have still likely. I mean, I would say I almost want to say certainly, but I don't want to say an absolute here. But I would say very, very much likely have had way more wins, way more experience doing intermediate than you would have in advanced. Competition's higher in advanced. They're better players. The tricks are harder. You
Yep.
getting that experience, even if you didn't win, I honestly believe that you getting that experience of those dubs, those you actually competing at a
Yeah.
level
Those
that
close
you can relate
matches.
to, the close matches, these close matches
Yeah.
getting that experience was so much, in my opinion, so much more beneficial than moving going up to advance. And I'm not going to say you would have gotten out in the first couple of rounds, but a higher likelihood for sure. A higher likelihood
Totally.
for sure.
Totally.
So I think getting those, I think that actually set you up for hugely for this for your comp career the next time you enter an event because, dude, and now, the way I see it, you went into this event wanting to land a certain trick. Now you literally have self proof that you can win an entire competition.
Yeah.
And now it's not as crazy
Yeah.
to imagine for you because you literally did it.
Right.
So I think you
Right.
actually set up yourself up on a perfect, in a perfect way, dude. I don't think you could have gotten better. So I hope people listening to this can really take something away from Cole's experience right now because I think a lot of people are confused with what level they should be competing in based on what tricks they can grind out on camera versus
Totally.
what tricks they're gonna be capable of hitting consistently in person. I think your story here with how you progressed, how you chose your division to enter, what you did on the days of competing, and and all the way to winning. I think it's something that can definitely be analyzed and help people for any skill level. So it's really cool to
Absolutely.
hear you share this, and I had to add my perspective on that because it's just really was speaking to me.
Absolutely, man. No, I appreciate it. It's almost just, it's almost just as surreal being on this interview with you who've been such a big role model of mine, like one of the other questions you asked me during the interview was like some of the people I looked up to
Hmm.
in the Kendama community, and you and your brother are definitely some others, and Cooper Eddy is definitely like my favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
So it's thank you so much for having me on and letting me share my experience, it's truly been an honor.
Dude, absolutely no problem. This has been one of I've been I've loved this conversation, Cole. It's been epic
Heck
to talk
yeah.
to you. I do want to ask. I just remember one thing that I really want to ask, and
Dude, anything,
we did
anything.
ask you one thing in the interview. This is the same question, but and you did touch on consistency. You touched on consistency a lot, but there are other
Mhm.
beginner intermediate players listening right now. Is there any thing that you want to give as a main tip to beginner intermediate players, whether it be something new they haven't said or you want something you want to emphasize that you've already said in this interview for their progression?
Hmm. Man, yeah. So something I want to say to beginner and intermediate players. Gosh, yeah, is focus on that consistency and yeah,
Hmm.
just don't forget to have fun with it. Have fun with it, follow your own journey. It's different for everyone. Fall in love with the journey, not the destination, right? Like, as fun as it is to, see people hitting these crazy tricks, it's gonna take time for you to get there, like I'll never forget hitting my first whirlwind and my first crazy tricks. It took so much time to get there, but building that consistency and those fundamentals really attributed to that. And I would almost again highlight what you said earlier about like, you might be closer to the trick than you think. You
Mm,
might really impress yourself sometimes. There's definitely been times where I've thrown up a trick and landed it like something crazy, like never thought I would. And
yeah.
um yeah, and then also, some resources that were always really helpful for me is the Sweets channel on YouTube.
Hmm.
That's where I would just spend hours there looking through tutorial videos and be like, oh, I want to try that trick, or oh, I would want to try this trick, and just hearing people talk about their experiences and things that helped them definitely improved my experience. And then yeah, try and play with friends because me and Josh play once a week, and having someone to play with definitely helps you level up a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So focus on consistency, but you said something that a lot of people will probably think, oh, that's cliche. Hey guys, he said focus on the journey, not the destination. 100%. I've been playing for 13 years. I'm with that all the way, 100%. Some people might be listening. Oh, I've heard that before. No, like Cole, I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And finally, you said play with others, and if you said that Josh has been such a huge help to you, guys. If you can connect,
Yeah.
yeah, just I want to echo that. If you can connect with people online, find a resource online for people to play with, even if because not a lot of people have friends to play with in person, online works really well too. That's huge, dude. I mean, Nick and
The
I are
Kendama
already,
map.
yeah, yeah, get on the Kendama map, get on in the Gallagher School. We have, yeah, get on the map and
Kendama map.
find players near you,
Yeah.
and maybe you can hop on yeah, we have calls, so hop in on that, and yeah, dude, it's been awesome to talk to you, and really, really, really appreciate your perspective and your time for this conversation. Thank you so much, Cole.
Dude, yeah, it's been a pleasure. If you ever want to do any interviews in the future or talk about anything, Kendama, I would love to, man.
Okay,
And yeah, if not, then I'll be definitely keeping an eye out for you at future events, and we can catch up sometime.
absolutely. All right, Cole. Well, I will see you at Battle of the Border. All right, 2025, 2 months from now.
All right, dude.
It won't be that far away.
All right.
We'll see each other really soon. All right.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, Cole. See you, dude.